Many moons ago, we made a video going over the most drastic body transformations in the NBA, and today, we're back to do that once again. You know, not all NBA players are in the greatest shape. Even though it's part of their job to be in elite condition, some don't always live up to that term. Raymond Felton. Anyways, welcome to NBA Zone, and in today's video, we'll be going over some of the craziest body transformations in the NBA. Before we do that though, make sure you guys are all subscribed to us here at NBA Zone and that your notifications are turned on so that you don't miss out on a single video. Without further ado, let's get started. First up on this list, we have Julius Randle. Do you guys remember back in the 2018-2019 season when Julius Randle would break out on the scene and would play at a nearly all-star level? Well, it can be credited to the work that he put in the offseason, specifically towards his body. In just a 3-week period, Julius Randle had this ridiculous body transformation. The Lakers front office apparently challenged Randle to come back a physical beast after the offseason. Randle took that challenge seriously and went from 250 pounds to 240 pounds, and he also brought himself all the way down to 6% body fat. This is what Randle himself had to say about his transformation. Quote, "I feel great. Being light on my feet, playing with energy and pace, being active. I feel like I can be active for long stretches of time without getting tired. I can cover more ground. I'm in better shape, so I see things before they happen. Fatigue makes a coward of us all." He couldn't have been more correct, because that season he would average 21 points and 8.7 rebounds while shooting 52% from the field. Certainly a noteworthy season, and Randle is keeping his numbers up around that same standard this year. So I think it's safe to say that as long as Julius Randle keeps himself in great shape, he'll stay a solid player for a while. Next up, we have Mike Bibby. Now this one a lot of you guys surely know about, but if you don't, let me bring you a bit of context. Back when he was in the league, Mike Bibby was considered one of the most underrated guards in the NBA during his time with the Sacramento Kings. Even though he doesn't have an all-star appearance to his name, Bibby was still a great player during the early 2000s. During that time, he didn't have a body that would turn any heads, but now, Mike Bibby looks like he's trying to be the world's strongest man. This image of Bibby would go viral back in the summer of 2018 when his son would post a workout photo of him and his dad on Instagram. The NBA world would go crazy over this, and Bibby would pop back up in the media for the first time in a while. It will be interesting to see if Bibby keeps this physique up as he ages. Next up, we have Miles Turner. Up to this point, both transformations that we've had happened during the summer of 2018. And this one is no different. Another beneficiary of that summer was Miles Turner. He changed his diet, started yoga, and cut his body fat from 14% to 7%. This picture right here puts it all in display. But the craziest part about this picture is that this was only 5 weeks into his new regimen, meaning that he probably looks even better now than he did then. Unfortunately, it hasn't really resulted in much of a performance leap for Turner, as he's actually putting up some of the worst numbers of his career to this point. For the sake of great basketball, I hope he turns it around. Hell, after all the work he's put in, he deserves to play well. Next, we have Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard came into the league as a slender-bodied teenager straight out of high school. Well, maybe I should use the term slender lightly, as he was still jacked coming into the league, but he was nothing close to what he would become. He was considered a power forward coming into the league, but after he began a weight training program, D12 morphed into one of the most swole bodies in NBA history. This strength would help him dominate the interior for all of the late 2000s and early 2010s. During that time, Howard was one of the most intimidating players in the entire NBA. Unfortunately, after leaving the Magic in 2012, Howard has never played the same. This year his numbers are up from the previous few years though, and I think you can credit this to, once again, another transformation. Dwight has seemed to have burned every bit of fat off his body, and coming into this year, Bro Bible said it best when they deemed his physical appearance as being that of a Greek god. Howard is ridiculously shredded right now, and it's clearly boosted his performance on the court. I'm interested to see what kind of role Howard can play for the Lakers come time for the playoffs. Next up, we have Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo has just recently returned from an injury that had him out for a long time, so the results of his transformation may not still stand today. I'm sure he'll be back to it soon though, so let's talk about it. The day after the Oklahoma City Thunder were eliminated by the Houston Rockets in the 2017 playoffs, Oladipo vowed to train like crazy during the offseason. This is what he said, quote, "I'm going to work and work, and I'm going to work some more. After that, I'm going to work some more." Then, approximately 6 weeks later, this photo emerged showing the drastic body transformation Oladipo had already achieved. Just like Julius Randle, Oladipo did this in just 3 weeks' time. These players truly have the best of the best trainers, because I don't think any of us have ever dropped 7% body fat in just 3 weeks. That's just ridiculous. Our next player is Chris Andersen. This isn't so much of a case of a physical transformation, but I think it still very much counts. If I were to show you this picture, I'm sure a lot of you wouldn't even be able to tell me who that player is. Now, if I show you guys this picture, I'm sure almost all of you would be able to tell me who this is. Yes, both of these pictures are of the same guy, and that's Chris Birdman Andersen. Now, Birdman was never a guy to light up the stat sheet, but during his prime, he was a pretty good role player, and unfortunately, covering your body in tattoos doesn't make you any better of a basketball player, so Birdman didn't really see any performance boost on this one. Next, we have Sean May. Unless you were watching basketball in the mid-2000s, you're probably unaware of who Sean May even is. He only played 4 years in the NBA, only his second one being any productive. He's more so an NCAA legend than anything, as he was a big part of some very successful North Carolina teams. That's not what makes Sean May fun to talk about though, at least not in this case. Coming into the NBA, Sean May was a bit on the bigger side, especially in the face, which seems to look fat no matter what his body looks like. Later on though, he would actually get into pretty decent shape, especially in his last year in the NBA with the Kings. This seemed to be the only year that he really cared to get into the best shape though, as in every other year before and since, he's looked much like his rookie self. At least the big boy did his best though. Now to our last player on this list. We'll keep it short and sweeteny. No, not good, okay. But we have Michael Sweetney. I'm not sure how much I should or even need to say for this one. There's a reason Mike Sweetney only lasted 4 years in the NBA. Mike was never a small guy by any means, but he certainly was nowhere close to where he ended up being at the end of his career. As you can see here, Sweetney had a pretty NBA-like body. Nothing crazy but serviceable. Now, here is what he looked like at the tail end of his NBA days. I guess they didn't call him Sweets for nothing. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. How do you feel about these body transformations? Let us know down in the comment section below. Also, make sure that if you enjoyed this video, that you dropped a like, and you may want to think about hitting that subscribe button, because we have a lot more content just like this coming your way. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.